Good morning and welcome back to the lecture series on refugee migration diaspora. So today we are going to discuss cinema and diaspora through our reading of the film Bend It Like Beckham. So when we think of the world's future, we always mean the destination it will reach if it keeps going in the direction we can see it going in now. It does not occur to us that its path is not a straight line but a curve constantly changing direction. This is what Ludwig Wittgenstein states in his work Culture and Value, which was published in 1929. This quotation by Ludwig Wittgenstein, who was an Austria born British philosopher, suggests the complex and dynamic nature of cultural change. In the recent times, the impact of globalization has increased the intensity of cultural interaction and exchange, thereby resulting in unexpected outcomes. So, to go back to the quotation, when we think of the world's future, we are always meaning the destination it will reach. If it keeps going in the direction we can see it going in now, it does not occur to us that its path is not a straight line but a curve constantly changing its direction. So the future of the world is not predictable, to be very precise. There can be so many different kind of possibilities opening up that are usually unprecedented, that are usually not foreseen in many events. So coming to the question of transculturality, the migrants experience a variety of cultural phenomena both abroad as well as in the host culture. And this includes, experiences of multiculturalism, biculturalism, transculturality, either on an individual or at the societal level. So, coming to the question of transculturality, we see that the migrants experience a variety of cultural phenomena, both abroad as well as in their own host culture, such that experiences of multiculturalism, biculturalism, and transculturality can happen, can be felt either on an individual level or at the societal level. Now, transculturality is one such phenomenon which occurs on the societal level. According to Maria Pilar Rodriguez, transculturality encompasses several ways of life and cultures which also interpenetrate or emerge from one another, and these are in general characterized by hybridization. So many of these factors, that influence transculturality, and they encompass our ways of life, our cultures, and they are not emerging alone. They are churning out as a result of interpenetrating, each other's domain, or crossing path, and then new realities, churn out or emerge through these crossroads, through these intersections. Right. So when we are talking of transculturality, we cannot, stay very far away from the question of hybridization, a hybrid identity and a hybrid way of life. So transculturality refers to the interaction, exchange and blending of cultures, often forming new and unique cultural identities. So, as a result of movement and mixing of people, ideas, goods, the commodities that they bring from their own land, as well as the practices across different cultural boundaries, what happens as a result is transculturality. The transculturality is promoted. So, transculturality has been described by various philosophers and critics in different ways. For example, Wolfgang Welch defines transculturality as a radical break with rather separatist notions of cultures, whereas Werner Delanoy in 2006 explains it as the consequence of intercultural exchanges. On the other hand, we have Heinz Anter, who sees transculturality as a significantly different concept, which finally blurs the boundaries of different cultures. Guido Rings, in his work Otherness in Contemporary European Cinema, which came out in 2016, describes that the transcultural notions deal with the interconnectedness of our increasingly global interactions and exchanges. And through these interactions, through these, crossing paths through these intersections. What we have are potentially new cultural choices. They facilitate new cultural choices. It enables in the development of a pool of global cultures, and we have more options to choose from, right? Guy Rings also emphasizes that transculturality builds on well established notions of hybrid societies, which has also been discussed by critics such as Homi Bhabha and Garcia Cantlini. A new hybrid music as well as fusion food are some of the products of transculturality. They can be considered as a product of a hybrid culture produced through transcultural dialogue and exchange. In the wake of criticism of transculturality, German philosopher Wolfgang Welch warns that, I quote Welch here, if one tells us, as the old concept of culture did, that culture is to be a homogeneity event, then we practice the required coercions and exclusions, unquote. So basically, it's very difficult to maintain culture as a homogeneous entity. When we are trying that, it is something forced, it is something coercive, and it is in a way something synthetic in nature. There is nothing organic, there is nothing natural about a culture remaining the same across time and space. When we are doing that, there is a degree of exclusion, there is a degree of forcefulness, and definitely a conservative point of view in our mind, because culture flows and culture acquires new things. It gets rid of it, things that are deemed as redundant. And none of these factors can remain the same, forever. A culture cannot remain the same forever. The term culture navigator or cultural navigator refers to the individuals who help facilitate understanding between two cultures. They work towards bridging the gaps between the two cultures through cultural awareness, sensitivity, adaptability, effective communication skills, empathy, and understanding. As the world has become increasingly interconnected and diverse, there is a growing need for individuals who can bridge the cultural gaps and foster positive relationships. So that's why we have these artworks coming up which celebrate, biculturalism, transculturality, cross cultural exchanges, where there is an urgent need, a pressing need to understand and appreciate one another's cultural practices. So they are essential for transculturality. This bridging of cultural gaps is essential and a key point in transculturality, because it enables mediate between two cultures and reduce cultural barriers, cultural misunderstandings, and in turn they help in creating a more inclusive and interconnected world. The new trend in European cinema has become well known for new transcultural, post-colonial, and migrant orientation in contemporary films, which confront the rise of Euroscepticism, as well as the point of view that conservative governments across the continent hold. And such conservative standpoints actually continue to shape European politics. So the British Nationality Act, which came out in 1948, is also called the Open Door Policy, and it defines British nationality by creating the status of citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies as the sole national citizenship of the United Kingdom and all of its colonies. So this policy has seen a surge in migration from the South Asian countries, especially from India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. According to critic Maria Pilar Rodriguez, Asian British films such as Bhaji on the Beach, made by Gurinder Chadha in 1993, East is East by Damien O'Donnell in 1999, Anita and Me, made by Metin Hussain in 2002, Bend It Like Beckham by Gurinder Chadha, made in 2002, and then Love Plus Hate, made by Dominic Savage it came out in 2005. All of these Asian British films stand out as internationally recognized productions set in multicultural Britain, and they narrate their storylines through a social realist framework. Europe depends heavily on the successful integration of the migrants, and so it becomes essential to overcome traditional opposition and racist hierarchies between us and them. To an extent, the artworks help in facilitating this kind of cultural barrier or cultural gap, and they enable cultural understanding and transculturality. So these films play a crucial role in providing answers that might help in improving integration and community building, community cohesion in Europe, in the European society. Now, coming to Gurinder Chadha, Gurinder Kaur Chadha was born in Nairobi, Kenya, and then her Punjabi family moved to Southall in England, where when she was 2 years old. She's popular for her notable films and documentaries, including I'm British, but which came out in 1990, Baji on the Beach in 1993, and then Bend It Like Beckham that came out in 2002. Being one of the leading British Asian film directors, most of Chadha's films are based on the themes of the lives of Indians living in England. Her films are also popular for their portrayal of the struggles of Indian women who are experiencing an intercultural life in English society. She is responsible for setting up a production company named Yumbi Films or Umbi Films in 1990, and later the Bendit Films in 2001. So, coming to the film Bend It Like Beckham, Bend It Like Beckham is Chadha's biggest commercial success to date. It was made with a budget of $5 million and grossed $350 million worldwide in the first year itself. This film is often referred to as an amusing, feel good film. It's a sports comedy that pleases the audience with a critical undertone, which provokes thoughts and discussion about a large scope of important issues surrounding cultural differences and identity. The film also shares some autobiographic elements of the director's life. For example, the setting of the film is in Hounslow, Southall, in London. It's the same neighborhood where Chadha grew up, and it is also projecting, it's also presenting the Indian Sikh background of the protagonist. From the opening scene, the film appears to be handling a typical theme of generational conflict between the British Asian diaspora, where the protagonist Jasminder or Jess Kaur Bhamra, played by Parminder Nagra, a young second generation British Indian woman, clashes with family traditions to dream about pursuing her ambition of being a professional football player. So she dreams, her aspirations is to become a professional football player. So Jess is shown as dreaming about playing alongside David Beckham, an English football star. And her room is occupied with the Beckham jersey and his posters. She also talks to him from time to time. So she's an ardent fan of Beckham. She wants to play, like him, alongside him, and so he is her hero and her idol. However, Jess's parents, particularly her mother and her larger family do not appreciate her interest in football. Coming from the cultural background, that they have, they believe that a girl should, study, become accomplished, but in the end get married. So we have this short clip from the film. The clip shows the opening dream scene in the film where Jess dreams of herself playing alongside David Beckham and goals with a headshot. So the dream is interrupted by her mother, who wants her to go shopping with her soon to be engaged sister, and also scolds her for watching the skinhead boy. So we see that there are two kind of coordinates, kind of clashing with one another. One's the dreamscape, the ideal scape that kind of inspires. So we see that there are these two kinds of world that are in conflict with one another. One is the dreamscape of Jess, where she wants to play like Beckham with Beckham, and on the other hand, it's like the ground reality where her sister is getting married. It's a mundane life that takes her away from achieving her dream. It's the daily chores, the daily, demands, the exacting nature of life that takes, her back from her dream and into the reality, a kind of mundane, prosaic reality that she wants to escape from. It's on the one hand, we have the Indian home and its culture, its expectation, and on the other hand, it's the transcultural, experience that is just wants to explore. So, with this, we come to the end of our lecture here today. Let's meet in our next lecture and continue with the discussion on Bend It Like Beckham. Thank you.